Galnet News, your galaxy in focus, 17th of March, 3301. In today's news, the Crimson State Group is outnumbered 2-1 in Lugh. Hudson questions Halsey's motives. Test begins operation at Bletchley Park in the Lave cluster. Blaine refuses Patreus' request. Prism Senator continues to woo Federation residents. And rebels declare war on the Federation in 78 Ursae Majoris. Our top story today is an update on the situation in Lugh. Here's Chip Washington with the full story.
The fighting has been fierce in the Lugh system this past weekend. Hundreds of thousands of ships have been shot down and millions have lost their lives in the opening salvo of the war. Federal pilots are currently dominating the skies of Lugh, where they outnumber the native Crimson State Group 2-1. The Crimson State defenses are in particularly bad shape, with reporters on the ground claiming that we are just days away from the first Crimson State Group outpost falling to the Federal Navy. However, reports are coming in that spies loyal to the Crimson State Group are currently working to seriously undermine the Lugh for Equality Party on their home station of Hartsfield Market. If the undercover operatives succeed at their task before the Federation manages to stamp them out, the Crimson State Group could snatch Hartsfield Market and control of the system from out of the Federation's grasp. This has been Chip Washington, Galnet News.
More from the federal government now, where Shadow President Hudson has released a scathing attack on the president's offensive against the Crimson State Group, calling it nothing more than a petty attempt to show strength at the cost of hundreds of thousands of innocent lives. He went on to say, "The fact that our troops are doing well in Lugh is a testament to the excellent training programs offered by the Federal Navy. It is certainly no thanks to the actions of our supposedly esteemed president, who sent off our troops to war without adequate support or supplies. Indeed, if anyone should take credit for the current success of the Federation strike teams, it is the loyal Federal pirates who flew in from all over the galaxy to answer the president's premature call to wage war against our own people." In the Alliance today, Galnet understands that the group of systems around Lave is under constant pressure from pirates and other illicit activities due to the relatively high availability of unique products such as Lavian brandy and azure milk. The organization known as Test have released footage of their most recent encounter in the area, which is part of what they are calling Operation Bletchley Park. They issued the following statement. In the past few weeks, Test has noted an uptick in pirate activities in and around the rare trading hub known to many pilots as the Lave Cluster. This hub is a vital resource for many smaller traders looking to make their way in this cold, dark universe. As such, Test has elected to send military forces to bolster local security forces and patrol the more anarchical parts of the region. With the Test wings now set up and operational, the vanguard of Test, MH Fleet Buffalo Wing, has already been deployed to the region and has fought skirmishes with the known pirate forces. Additional commanders from Red Bull and Hasselhoff Wings were dispatched to bolster the forces in the region. Both the Red Bull and Hasselhoff Wings are expected to be fully mobilized and on the front lines tomorrow. The other Test wings, Wang, MLG, Captain Falcon and Fedora, are in the process of mobilization and are expected to reach the front lines as early as this weekend. Additional wings are being formed on an as-needed basis. A commander should be aware anyone operating with cargo scanners and or frameshift drive interdictors in the region may find themselves hassled by the Hoff Wing and pulled over for questioning, or barbecued by Buffalo Wing for running hot goods, or given of the tip of the hat once Fedora Wing moves to the front lines. With so many independent factions vying control over this valuable area of civilized space, it's unclear who will emerge on top at this stage, but pilots are warned to expect an elevated risk of disturbance while passing through systems such as Lave, Leasty, Deso, and the surrounding area. Bletchley Park, after which this latest operation is named, was the site of the secretive code-breaking operations conducted by the Allies against the Axis forces in Earth's Second World War, and played a major role in developing the modern computer. In the Imperial Senate, we understand that Chancellor Blaine has refused a request by Senator Denson Patreus. Chip Washington with the story.
Chancellor Blaine made a rare appearance at today's Senate meeting in order to address remarks made earlier in the week by Senator Denton Patreus. Chancellor Blaine had this to say: "It is with regret that I must deny the Honorable Senator's request to access the Emperor's medical records. As has always been the case, for reasons of national security, the medical records are only accessible by the Emperor's personal physicians. Should His Imperial Highness's condition change in any way, for better or for worse, I will make sure to inform the Senate as soon as possible. Until such an event comes to pass, I will continue to act in the Emperor's stead, according to his will. As for the question of succession, that will be addressed when the situation calls for it, and not before." This has been Chip Washington, Galnet News.
In the Federation today, the Prism Senator continues to woo Federation residents. Lady Kahina Tiyani Loren's unofficial entourage has begun a tour of the outer gas giants in the Sol system. Hundreds of privately owned Federation-registered vessels have turned out to greet the Senator, in lieu of an official welcome, as she continues her passage through the Sol system despite continued apathy from officials. Requests for interviews from the diplomatic representatives on Mars have been turned down, but one, rather stressed aide was quoted as saying, "Listen, we have no intention of jumping through hoops for some jumped-up Imperial prima donna who won't do the paperwork properly. That's off the record, yes?" Question on this, at a Merchants Guild reception hosted on Titan, Lady Kahina was quoted as saying, "We Imperials often do get accused of being arrogant and overbearing, but at least we're good at it." This news comes just 2 days after an Imperial pageant for the Prism Senator, in an apparent show of solidarity for the visiting Senator and in protest at her perceived shabby treatment at the hands of her Federation hosts. Dozens of independent commanders volunteered to escort the lady's Imperial courier through federal space for the duration of her trip. The unofficial escort was primarily composed of Imperial cutters in private ownership, causing acute embarrassment to the Federation, who were powerless to prevent newsfeed images of what appeared to be a sizable Imperial fleet gallivanting unchallenged through the unmistakable backdrop of core Federation worlds. Lady Kahina was briefly interviewed by the Mars Herald and was asked, "What do you think of your welcome into federal space?" She replied with, "When I receive one, I shall let you know." Now we understand another war has broken out in the Federation today. The system of 78 Ursae Majoris, home to over 10 billion people, has erupted into civil war. The conflict started just hours after the news broke that the Frontier system was planning to announce its intention to secede from the Federation. We spoke to local resident and farmer Griff Jones, who woke up this morning to find he now lives near one of the heaviest focal points of the conflict. He had this to say on the matter. "Pa, the Federation. Now I won't say I support this war, the revolutionaries are monsters and criminals, but the inability of the local federal government to keep things under control is exactly why these folks are so unpopular here. The feds are too busy playing with lunatics and onion heads half a galaxy away to focus on places like this. Maybe both sides will kill each other off. I can't help but think we'd be better off for it." This news comes on the back of the recent reports of heavy fighting in the Lugh system and the postponement of hostilities in Pola Hakuna late last week, leading to questions as to whether the Federation will be able to remain united as more of its systems break off into independent struggles and bitter rivalries. The Federal Navy's forces are clearly stretched thinly across civilized space, and it remains to be seen what response they will deliver to the system of 78 Ursae Majoris. That's the Galnet news for today. Tune in next time to keep your galaxy in focus.